Do you know that traveling with your family can create stronger bonds and memories for them that are far more valuable than any material thing you could ever give them? I want to talk to you today from across the street from the Notre Dame here in Paris, France, with my family sitting here to my left inside of our Airbnb. And I wanted to share with you from my experience the difference that traveling with your family can make and to encourage you to do so. And I want to share with you some of the highlights of our trips through the years. We've been to 49 states, 6 continents, and the trips we've taken have literally transformed our lives, opened our eyes, broadened our perspectives, and helped us to become more global citizens. And it's made a just tremendous difference in like our family time. So I want to share some of that with you. I'm Dr. Manny Scott. I lived in 26 places before I was 16. Pops was locked up for most of my life. Stepfather was struggling with an addiction to crack. He was an alcoholic who was violent toward my mother and my brothers, and whenever he got drunk or high, it was awful. I dropped out of school, really just gave up, man, after my best friend was killed on his way to see me. But a man came into my life, shared his faith with me, shared the gospel of Jesus Christ with me. And God met me on a park bench, transformed my heart, softened my heart, changed my entire life. I returned to school, became the first person in my family to graduate from high school, went to college, and graduated from UC Berkeley. Went to grad school, got my master's of divinity, and I just finished my PhD in intercultural competence, intercultural studies not too long ago. But while I was doing all of that, I was happily married. Really, I met my college sweetheart at Berkeley. And after that, right after college, we got married. Didn't have a lot of money. Didn't have any money really. We were pretty broke. We had this dream to just build a life for ourselves and our family that we would be proud of, and that would allow us to expose our children to more than we were exposed to. And my wife had traveled to like all over this country with her father and her mother when she was growing up in the back of a station wagon, I think it was. But I didn't travel at all, and it was my dream to be a pilot and fly airplanes and travel the world. I used to print out like posters and things and put them on my wall. I used to cut out magazines, cut out pictures from magazines of places that I always dreamed of going. And I've been to almost every one of those places I used to dream of going. But when my wife was pregnant with my oldest son, I I had this feeling like, man, once I have kids, I'm not going to be able to travel anymore. I'm not going to be able to do the stuff that I want to do because I got to start living for my children and sacrifice all the stuff I want to do for myself for the sake of them. And then my second son came, then my daughter came, and like back to back to back, we had children. And in a way, I started feeling like I was like almost trapped from traveling and seeing the world. And so I told my wife, Alice, I want to not only continue traveling, but I want to take our children traveling. I want my children to see the world. And my wife and I had backpacked through Europe for 6 weeks before we went to grad school, and it was amazing. One of our favorite trips ever. And so I wanted to take my children throughout Europe. I wanted to take my children all over the world. And we decided early that, you know what, we're not going to give them a lot of things. We're going to give them experiences. We're going to give them experiences that hopefully shape them as people, and that, will give us memories that we could look back on and smile again the second time when we think about the things we're going to do with them. And so we bought an RV and we traveled around the United States. We've been to almost every state in the RV. When my daughter was 6 weeks old, we traveled through 17 states in the RV. And then I bought an airplane and we started traveling all over the United States, went to Canada, went to the Bahamas, and planned to like fly to Mexico and other places that we wanted to go. But then there were other places internationally over the waters that we wanted to see as well. And so we did that, man. My wife and I decided, all right, we're going to find a way to budget and take at least one international trip per year. We're going to get one stamp in our passports per year if we can help it. And oh, by the way, we were homeschooling our children too. We work for ourselves, entrepreneurs, traveling and speaking and investing in schools and teachers and students. So that's, if you want to learn about that stuff, watch some other videos on entrepreneurship or real estate investing and all of that. But right now, just want to talk about how those things freed us up to travel. But even while we were working, we were still intentional about taking trips, right? So we have been all over the world. And I want to share with you some of our favorite places in the world and share with you some of the experiences we had around the world and how those experiences blessed us, shaped us, make us smile, and to encourage you to create a list of things that you want to do as well. All right. And this is in no particular order because I just want to share with you from my heart, off the top of my head. Let me share with you some of my favorite places around the world, and then maybe share with you some of my favorite experiences that we've had around the world. But some of our favorite places in the world, really, Paris is one of them. Alice and I have been here 7, 8 times, I think. The children have been here 3 times. This is their 3rd time here in Paris. We love Paris because of the energy and the spirit and the lights. Man, you just come here and it feels like just a city of romance. I know there are mixed reviews and some people hate Paris, but for us, man, we love Paris. We love the lights, the vibe, the I don't even know how to say arrondissements, the neighborhoods, Saint Germain, Marais, and up by Sacré-Cœur, and like we love the restaurants. I don't really like the French fancy food. You know, it's supposed to be the culinary capital of the world. We found better food in Lima, Peru, but Paris, when it comes to romance, when it comes to the feeling you get of love, of romance, man, like of all the places we've been, Paris does something special for me and Alice. And another place we really love is New York City. New York City, man, if you have not been, I highly recommend you check out New York City, because New York City, like, there are all kinds of boroughs and neighborhoods. I mean, I'm just talking about Manhattan, but you can go to Queens and Brooklyn and the Bronx and all these, but I'm just in Manhattan. We've been there so many times, man, 20 times at least, 30 times, maybe more, because, like, New York never gets old. The restaurants, the food, the culture, the people, it'll just bless you, man. The Central Park, every year we've gone, the kids will climb the rock down to Central Park and play at that playground and chase each other and play tag, man. And my wife and I we'd play with them. I'd play with them, take pictures with them, and make some wonderful memories in New York City. So if you've never been to New York City, you gotta check out New York City, man. Little Italy, like Chelsea, the Beltline, of course Times Square, but going down toward the Flatiron District to Soho, to going up to Harlem, man, to Sylvia's Cafe, where you can get some of that. It's a world famous fried chicken. It's delicious. Melissa's Cupcakes by Melissa. I think it's Melissa's Cupcakes. There are just so many wonderful places to eat and explore in New York City if you've never been. And you could, well, I won't get into where you should stay because you can just look into Airbnb, hotels, find a way to get to New York City. Another place we love is the Bay Area of San Francisco, Emeryville, California. That's where Alice and I met and fell in love at UC Berkeley. And so some of our fondest memories are in the Bay Area, in Berkeley, on Shattuck Avenue, on College, Bancroft. There's this place called Strata Cafe where they give you white hot chocolate, man. It's like the best we've ever had. Emeryville is really nice. El Cerrito, going across the bridge to San Francisco and exploring the city of San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, Stinson Beach. I think it's called the Battery, right over there next to the Golden Gate Bridge, where you can overlook the bridge and the city and get some amazing pictures. And then Oakland, man, has so much rich history that and so many great restaurants, soul food restaurants. Fisherman's Wharf is one of our favorite places to go. They had some great restaurants there and a nice vibe. So highly recommend the Bay Area if you've never been. Another place that I love. This is just for me. If you love nature, if you love the outdoors, you gotta check out Glacier National Park in Montana. Man, that place to me is a glimpse of heaven on earth. It's unspoiled by tourism. A lot of places you travel to, they're crowded and they're very touristy. And so if you want to get away from crowds, if you love nature, if you love hiking, Glacier National Park is one of those places that does it for me. Even Yosemite is really nice. Yellowstone is really nice if you love the outdoors. Another place we love is, New Orleans. If you've never been to New Orleans, I highly recommend that you make New Orleans, put that on your to-do list. Not only like Bourbon Street or whatnot, but like just the vibe of New Orleans, man. It's like a lot of cities around the country are like cookie cutter cities. There are a lot of places in Florida where like all of the cities feel the same. All over Florida, man. There are places that just kind of feel the same, but then there's like a West Palm Beach or a Key West that feels unique. New Orleans is one of those places where it has such unique character and personality and history. And while I'm sitting here in Paris, there are a lot of New Orleans feels like Paris with a little more soul, right? They just got this vibe. They got these restaurants, these Creole restaurants, these jazz clubs, Cafe Du Monde, and some pralines. But there's just this vibe in New Orleans that I love. The music and the people, man, are just wonderful. If you're having a birthday, celebrating a birthday, and people know it, man, they'll just walk by and pin $1 on your shirt, on your lapel or whatever, and celebrate with you. Like the children and I, my wife and I, we've been to New Orleans several times and love it, and look forward to going again. All right, another place we love that we had a wonderful time. Cape Town, South Africa was really nice, man. Like there's Table Mountain where you can go up to the top and look over the city, or there's Lion's Head Mountain where the boys and I hiked up to the top of that, and you get a view over the city as well, and you can see Robben Island in the distance where Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for almost 30 years. And you can even go to Robben Island and visit his cell, the cell that he was in and the prison he was in. And it gives you perspective just about the sacrifice that he and so many others made to dismantle apartheid. And of course, there's still several problems that blacks in South Africa are facing. But Nelson Mandela and just the legacy that he left behind is so inspiring. And giving our children exposure to that, man, to me was really important. I needed them to see and experience up close one of the figures to me that has made a big difference in the world, and to teach them that life is not just about what you want for yourself, but it's about using your life and your time to be a blessing to other people. And so being able to visit Robben Island and see Nelson Mandela's cell was really special for us. And just the vibe in South Africa, man, it's like the culture is very mixed. You got like an amalgamation of all kinds of ethnicities and culture that it's created some very just beautiful people, man. You'll just see like people, and they're like almost ethnically ambiguous. Like they'll like have blonde hair with like full features like a black woman. I mean, it's just interesting the way the mixtures have created such a diversity of people that like just South Africa just filled with a bunch of just beautiful people, man, of on the spectrum, dark, light, tall, short, just some of the most beautiful people we've seen, and the vibe was really cool. I didn't necessarily like how they treated black folks in the city of Cape Town. I guess after hours, several blacks leave the city and go live outside the city in different like shanty towns and other developments. So I did not like that. I did not like that most of the property and real estate within the city was owned by foreign nationals. Having said that, we really enjoyed Cape Town, South Africa. Another place that was life changing for us was Ghana, Africa, Accra, Ghana, the Cape Coast Castle in Africa. Being able to visit the castles where 98% the Africans who were shipped to North America, to the Caribbean, to the Bahamas, to Puerto Rico passed through the Cape Coast Castle and came out of the Elmina Castle. So visiting the slave dungeons where it's very probable that my ancestors and Alice's ancestors passed through there. And honestly, while walking through the dungeon, man, I just sobbed. Alice sobbed because I'd never felt more sad or more indebted to the people who were there. Sad that they endured such horrendous circumstances. You could see a line on the wall that was maybe 2 or 3 feet high, and it was the line from the line down. There was still on the wall like excrement that those who were enchained, enslaved, had to live in for a long time before they were placed on ships and shipped across the Atlantic Ocean. The strength and the resilience that they had to have to even survive that it was heartbreaking and just unbelievable. I don't know how to put into words how much that experience changed me, influenced me, affected me, and inspired me really to make sure that I finished my PhD and make sure that I did my work with excellence. And I think it affected the children in a similar way. They were younger, but they could still see and feel the gravity and the importance of that place. And so if you're African American, if you are Black, part of the Black diaspora, I highly recommend you visit Ghana, the Cape Coast Castle, and just that whole coast to just catch a glimpse of where our ancestors came from and what they endured to make it to to make it to the United States and beyond. I can't recommend it enough. And apart from that though, Ghana felt like home for me and my family. Man, they were hugging our children like they were their own. They were so warm. They were welcoming us home. Akwaba, I think is the word. They were making us feel like family for real, and brought tears to our eyes, man. And it's really one of the most welcoming places that we've ever been. And if you're Black, I please put Ghana on your list. They speak English there. They have malls and food and the fufu. Be careful with the fufu, man. It's really good, but it's really hot. It took the family out for a little while. It was hot, but it was amazing. All right, so Ghana was up there. Another place that we really loved was Tanzania. We went on a safari in the Serengeti and slept in the middle of the Serengeti, slept in Manyara National Park, went through the Ngorongoro crater and stayed over there. But going through a safari, sleeping in the middle of the Serengeti with my family was really one of the best experiences of our lives. Man, Chris swore there was a baboon hitting his window, hitting his tent next to his head. And he was like, "Dad, can I sleep with you?" And Alice, there was a lion walking next to our tents in the middle of the night, and Alice thought it was trying to get into her tent, and she was texting me to say like, "Hey, if I don't make it through the night, I want you to know I love you." But it was like she was terrified. But it was really, man, like she made it through the night, of course. And when the family talks about that experience, oh man, we just laugh, we cry, laugh, we smile, and we just look so fondly back at that trip, at that safari, and the people in Tanzania. were so kind, so loving, so warm. Several of the brothers there who were working at the safari camps were like, "Hey, man, look, like you were taken from us. Please come back and help us build, help us develop. Our our government will not did not educate us to work for ourselves. Did not educate us to start our own businesses. Did not educate. It gave us the colonial system, and so it teaches us to be subservient. But you went to America. You were educated. You started businesses. You know some things that we need to know. Please come back and help us build." And I ain't gonna lie, man. One of the brothers there looked like my father. I said, "Man, this where you've been hiding all my life." He said, "Son, welcome home." Tanzania was awesome. And then Zanzibar, which is part of Tanzania, but it's an island where it's really has some of the most beautiful turquoise blue waters in the world that we've ever seen. And we went swimming with dolphins in Tanzania and walked through Stone Town and went to, I can't think of name of this island. It's an island where we're visiting and got to like sit with the big giant turtles. That's what I'm trying to say. And riding on these boats. And we stayed at one of the residences of the former president's daughter. And so Fatma's home was so wonderful, man. And the staff there took such great care of us. And like, it was just really probably one of the best experiences we've had while traveling. We were just taken care of, man. And those people loved on us and blessed us with some amazing meals. And the tamarind juice, oh, in Zanzibar, bro, that is some of the best juice in the world. I wish I could get some. I can't find any in the States, but in Zanzibar, it's one of their fruits, and it's really like, I wish my mouth watering talking about it. But Zanzibar and the swimming pools and swimming in the oceans with my wife and children, we look fondly back at that time there. And then Nairobi, Kenya was awesome. Going to their park, the national park there, and it's the only place I think where a major city, capital city, has an actual national park with like animals and lions and all kinds of animal out just right outside the city. You can see the skyline from the national park. Only place in the world where I think you can see that, and you can visit the city and experience. They got a lot of great restaurants, and the black folks out there, man, they got this dignity about them, this pride about them, this self-respect about them that I loved. It was like, actually Barack Obama, some of his relatives are still there. Barack Obama's cousin actually did Alice's hair. Kenya was a magical place filled with just so many wonderful people and experiences and restaurants I'd like to get back to. Another place we loved was Rwanda. It was bittersweet. Bitter because we visited several of the places where the genocide took place, where the churches where people were slaughtered, and locations where people were mutilated, and it was just awful, heartbreaking. Man, we were just crying and sad and solemn because of the darkness of the human heart and the evil that took place there among the Hutus and the Tutsis, people who shared the same ethnicity, I think even the same religion, but were divided by the forces of colonialism and caused to hate each other and placed one over the other, and it just led to all these problems and this propaganda that led to brainwashing and ultimately led to genocide, and had many parallels to what's happening in the United States, what happened in Nazi Germany, where the media was used to send out misinformation and propaganda to divide people and to conquer the people and to make them hate each other and fight against each other so that those in power could get wealthier. And so Rwanda was really eye-opening in that regard. And the sweet part of Rwanda is that it is the cleanest, one of the most beautiful cities that we've ever seen in our entire lives. The streets were clean, the restaurants were amazing, the people were so kind, welcoming to me and my family. And I could go back there again and again. And our tour guide, John Shimiamana Mihirwe, was our tour guide. He had lost some relatives in the genocide, and yet he was filled with so much kindness and love, and just telling us stories about the history there. I can't recommend Rwanda highly enough if you want both to see the history and just to see how people can come together and rebuild a country. The president there, Kagame, I think is his name, has done a phenomenal job at helping to lead that country toward reconciliation and to reunification and to creating like this national identity of Rwandans. Another place is Uganda, the Bwindi impenetrable forest in Uganda. We went to Kampala, Uganda. Man, like that, I've never seen such organized chaos in my life in Kampala. Man, the bodas and the motorcycles, like they just converged in an intersection, like hundreds of people, and didn't crash into each other, and just made it work. Like that was just mind-boggling to see, and a little bit stressful. But all of the children and family had their own boda driver, and drove us through the city, and we were all like tailgating each other. It was just one of the best experiences we had. We were scared and excited, and when we were finished, we were so glad we did it. But that's Kampala. But we tracked gorillas in the Bwindi, Bwindi, impenetrable forest, and we were walking for about an hour until we stumbled upon a family of gorillas. And I think the leader of that family of gorillas was Bweza, I think it was. And Bweza was the silverback gorilla, and he had all of his women and children, and they were just kind of playing and wrestling and climbing trees. And my dude is sitting back against a tree, like after he's tired, and he's waiting for his women and his children to come down, and he's just like looking like a dad, like, come on, if y'all don't hurry up. And staying out in the camp there in Bwindi, in this rainforest, like this gorillas in the mist, this mist over the trees. You can see the gorillas outside of your window, outside of when you're eating, man. You can see the trees rustling, and then you can see elephants. Like we saw an elephant just staring at us, huge tusks, and and this, we got so close to the silverback gorilla that he got sick of us following him, man. He runs up the hill toward us, pounds his fists on the ground, and the ground shakes and the trees shake all around us. I'd never felt so much force from an animal. It was so scary. Chris took off running, and he ran into the chest of one of our guys. He said, "No, it's okay, it's okay." And Chris was like, "No, it's not okay." And Chris was like, "I don't understand why we're following gorillas." I don't. Oh, it was great. So tracking gorillas was just one of those memories that we have, and hearing the kids tell the story about that is wonderful. Another place that has left an indelible impression on our minds is Egypt. We went to Cairo, Egypt, and we hiked down into the center. We climbed up into the center of the Great Pyramid and got to see where the tombs were, the sarcophagi were, before archaeologists took them out. And we rode camels outside of Egypt, outside of Cairo, and just walking through the Grand Bazaar there and experiencing the culture of Egypt. Seeing that was unforgettable. Seeing history come to life. And then going down to Luxor as well, and seeing the Valley of the Kings. So many of the pharaohs were buried. And seeing Hatshepsut's temple, and seeing like how these gargantuan temples and columns were so beautifully designed with all these colors, and seeing the Sphinx, and seeing the Ramses temple, and going down to Aswan to see Abu Simbel, and seeing these temples, one to Ramses and then one to his wife. I forgot her name, Nefertari, I think it is. and she was a Nubian woman that he had married and created unity between Egypt and the Nubians that were south of them. Taking the family through there and the memories we have, and seeing the kids, like, check out during the tour guide's talk, and we're trying to get the kids to sit still, but they're just like, I can't do this no more, man. You're talking too long. But that experience, man, was wonderful and unforgettable. Oh, Rio de Janeiro, really one of the most amazing cities in the world. You might hear that there's a lot of crime, but man, where I'm from, we got crime everywhere. Every city, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Miami, New Orleans, New York, wherever you go, where there's a major city, wherever there's poverty, there's going to be crime. And so if you just have common sense and know not to go to certain places on your own after certain hours, then you'll be good. Rio was amazing, man. Those people, probably some of the most beautiful people that we've ever seen. The boys and I were like, man, I told I told Alice, I said, look, if anything ever happens to you, if I ever lose you tragically, I'm probably going to Rio to mourn. Man, the women down there are so beautiful. And apparently Alice Berkeley said the men are too. So, I mean, everyone's out there working out in the morning. Like, it's almost like a sin to get old or to look old in Rio. The people are beautiful. The food is amazing. We went through a favela where it's like a shanty town that the people built up, and they have their own ecosystem there. And the city leaves them alone. They have their own water, their cable, their electricity, restaurants. They just keep building. And a local brother took us through and let us experience where he grew up, and took us to several places, man. Favela Rocinha, Favela Santa Teresa, I think it is. It's where Michael Jackson filmed part of his video. They don't really care about us, but seeing the people there really blessed us. And then there's Christ the Redeemer, the statue there, and Sugar Mountain. The views from Sugar Mountain were just wonderful, wonderful, breathtaking. Some of my favorite pictures are from the top of that mountain. And the food, Casa de Feijoada, where like they took some slave recipes that kept the country alive during a very difficult time, and they became popular. So now like black culture is infused into everything they do. And if you didn't know, man, more black folks went to South America than to North America. More enslaved Africans were shipped to South America than to North America. I think 22 were in the United States, and I think 80 or 90 million went to South America. So there's so many black folks down there. You can just see it and feel it. It's in their music, it's in their vibe, and it's really just a place I want to go back to again and again. And we went to Ginga Tropical or something. It's like a samba show, and the boys, we all sat in the front row. The boys looked over at me and said, "Thank you, Dad. Thank you." But those women are so beautiful, and the music is just magical. It takes you through the history of Brazil through dance and through a performance. And all the brothers are swole, and Alice and Berkeley sitting over there smiling. But it was just a great family experience, and we laugh about it. I told Alice, I'm moving to Rio. It was gorgeous. But I loved Rio de Janeiro. Another place that we loved is, I've never seen anything more overwhelmingly beautiful than Iguazu Falls, and on the Argentina side and the Brazilian side. You almost need 2 days, 1 day for the first side, second day for the other side. If you've seen like Niagara Falls and that waterfall there, Iguazu Falls makes the Niagara Falls look like a tiny little drop of water. It's like multiple huge waterfalls falling off the edge of these mountains, these cliffs, and you feel tiny. And there's a hymn called "How Great Thou Art" that comes to your heart while standing there. My wife My wife, she sings it beautifully. Oh Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. You sit there with awesome wonder at the beauty and the grandeur of God's creation that is called the Iguazu Falls. And so if you ever go to South America, I can't. It's like another wonder of the world. It's like seeing the ancient pyramids, seeing the Iguazu Falls. If you're into nature, if you're into seeing the beauty of God's creation, that place is one of those places that'll do it for you. And when the family talks about it, of course, it's a very fond memory that we have. Another place that we've loved, Italy. I'm surprised I didn't say this sooner, man. We've been to Italy, Alice and I, maybe 8 times. We consider ourselves Black Italians. Man, Italy is such a beautiful place. Historically, from the north to the south, every region, every part of that state, that country has something beautiful, man. From Venice up north to the Alps up north, where you can go ziplining and just see the beauty of nature and see these little rustic towns, almost like gingerbread houses. From Venice to Tuscany, going to Florence and seeing and getting some of the best gelato in the world. It's like this homemade ice cream, man. It's unlike any place that we've ever been. It's just wonderful. And Siena and San Gimignano, seeing those ancient towns and those buildings, those structures, the cobblestone streets, and a lot of pizza and pasta. And then you go down to Rome, or to Naples, or to Pompeii, or to Capri, the island where a lot of people stars vacation there. Or one of our favorite places in the entire world is the Amalfi Coast. Man, there's this place called Ravello or Positano or Amalfi, the city Atrani. I think Equalizer 3 was filmed there. Man, you could spend like weeks, months just enjoying the beauty and the magic and the wonder of the Amalfi Coast. This limoncello that they grow these huge lemons out there. Man, it'll change your life visiting the Amalfi Coast. And make sure you have a camera when you go to any of these places. A nice camera. So not just your iPhone. iPhone is fine, but if you want to print out these pictures and put them on your walls, you need a better quality camera. Look around at some of my other videos on photography. Look at my playlist for photography where I share some stuff about photography. I'm a photographer as well. And I'll talk to you about lenses and bodies and systems you could use, equipment you could use to capture some beautiful pictures. Amalfi Coast is really one of my favorite places in the world. Lima, Peru, to me, is the culinary capital of the world. Lima, Peru is the culinary capital of the world. They got this food there and the flavors there that are so rich and like sumptuous, man. Like it's like the flavors just explode and it's like this sensory overload and a perfect blending of different spices. Ají de gallina. Think of all of their dishes that I love. The ceviche is great. But you take a train ride from Lima to, I think it's Cusco, and then you go from Cusco to Aguas Calientes, and you stay in Aguas Calientes, and then that morning you take a bus up to the entrance of Machu Picchu, and you get to experience the beauty of this ancient culture. And my oldest son and I, we also booked a morning hike to Huayna Picchu, the mountain that's behind Machu Picchu. And apparently, well, there's a history around what it's actually named. I think, I won't get into that. But we hiked Huayna Picchu, my son and I. I sprained my ankle at the entrance of that hike, at the beginning of that hike. but my son couldn't go on without me. I had to be with him in order for him to participate in the hike. So I hiked that mountain with a really bad sprained ankle. I just tightened my hiking boot up. He and I powered our way up to the top of that mountain and took some wonderful pictures there. And it's one of our favorite things to do together is hike. Speaking of hiking, another place that we really enjoyed was Krabi, Thailand. If you love oceans but you don't love crowds, a lot of people go to Phuket. Phuket is apparently beautiful. I don't like doing crowds anymore. It's just too much for me if I can help it. So I want to find an alternative. Krabi is the alternative. If you can go to Krabi, Thailand, man, it's a beach town, beautiful waters, and you could rent a little scooter or moped and just ride around the city, go to get some amazing food. But Manuel and I rode our scooters to the entrance of this national park, and then we hiked all the way up to the top and saw these beautiful views over the country, and ran out of water too, so it was a little scary, but we made it. It was like an hour plus up and then an hour back at least. It was a lot. Maybe it was 4 hours total. The memories that Manuel and I have made hiking have bonded us together in a special way. And so now when we talk about our future, we're talking about going places to go hiking. That's how he and I like really bond and connect and talk. And so if you want to go to a beautiful place like that, go to Krabi, Thailand. You can go to Bangkok. Bangkok is an amazing place for the temples. Great food. You could spend a few days there, but then go around, check out like Krabi or Chiang Mai or Chiang Rai to see the other parts of the country, which is what we did. But Krabi's as a place I want to go back to and spend some more time. And the cost of living in Thailand is unbelievable, man. You could rent like an apartment there for a month for like $300-400 and get some amazing food and service. And like you could retire in Thailand and live an amazing life. So I highly recommend that. Another place that I think gets overlooked by most people is Angkor Wat in Cambodia. The Angkor Wat community, the city of temples. You're really walking into another world. I can't even put into words, man, how magical that place is. If you've seen Tomb Raider, part of Tomb Raider and Raiders of the Lost Ark were filmed in Angkor Wat, the city of temples. You could spend a while just exploring these temples, these gargantuan, almost magical places. And so I want to go back to Angkor Wat again and slow down and enjoy it more and learn more. And the people are so pleasant. If you ever go to Angkor Wat, look up Mr. Long. He's a tuk-tuk driver who made our experience wonderful. Mr. Long, thank you for giving us such an unforgettable experience. There are great Airbnbs there as well. Cambodia. Oh, we took a cruise on Halong Bay in Vietnam. It's like out of a movie, like Godzilla or something. We had these suites on this small river boat. It only held 18 people, and we had and we just sailed on Halong Bay and saw these beautiful rock structures coming out of the waters, and had great first class service. Did Tai Chi in the morning and went hiking and swam in the waters there and dove off the boat there. Really just a wonderful memory we have as a family. Be more open to taking a cruise. So we're going to be taking a cruise pretty soon. At the family's encouragement, especially my daughter. Dad, please, can we do another cruise? Because of the Halong Bay experience, we're going to do another cruise. Another beautiful city, if you could get to it, is Hoi An, Vietnam. It's this beautiful, like, little town, man, with all these beautiful bridges and colorful lamps and lanterns and restaurants, and you could take a cruise on the little river there and just experience almost like another world. It's like you're going back in time to like a fishing village and experiencing like another world. And the Airbnbs there are very affordable. We stayed at a very nice one for like that wasn't very expensive at all, with a swimming pool, multiple bedrooms, a housekeeper, and great food and restaurants all around us. Hoi An is another place that if you can get to it, check it out, man. You know, we've been to Australia. Australia was cool. Sydney was cool. Melbourne was cool. I think it's one of our children's favorite places. I don't need to go back to Australia, but it is nice if you just want to see it. You know what? Japan. If you can get to Japan, oh man, it is the most clean place I've ever been in my life, and yet they have fewer trash cans than I've ever seen anywhere in the world. The the commitment to excellence in Japan is unlike anything I've ever seen anywhere in the world. Their devotion to take care of their customers and their clients is unparalleled. And they're so hospitable and welcoming, and they do things with such precision and care. When you go shopping at the market, man, they'll wrap up your groceries or whatever you purchased, like with tape, and it's you just watch them. Like there's so much care and detail, and they're just so meticulous in what they do, and it blessed us. And I hope to go back there again and again. And they have all these cultural experiences, these onsens, where there's like the spa, but it's different, where you get completely nude, and they're not co-ed, and you like get in these baths, and you get massages, and you just chill, and you get drinks and snacks. Alice and Berkeley did it. The boys would not go with me. And so one of these days I'm gonna go back and do that. But Alice did it, and she and Berkeley have the best, most fond memories of that, and the laughter of their stories of just getting naked and walking around, like, and Berkeley just getting real comfortable in her own skin. Like, come on, mom, let's go. Like hearing them talk about that is really wonderful. And then we went to Mount Fuji, where we didn't go up to the top. We went up like a part of the way to take pictures, and it was wonderful, man. Just to be able to see that place with your own eyes, and to take pictures of it, and to get a little bell up there near the halfway point of the mountain was awesome, or maybe a quarter way up. We didn't go halfway up. And the food, the bento boxes. I mean, there's just so many wonderful things about Japan that if you ever get a chance, please go. When they walk onto the floor, they bow. When they leave the floor of their jobs, they bow again, because they honor their work. And just very humbling experience to see people serve you with such care and hospitality and excellence. So get to Japan if you can. We've been to Portugal. It was cool, but I wouldn't recommend it. This is just our experience. We didn't Portugal and Madrid in Spain. We felt that we weren't very welcome there, and I didn't really enjoy the energy and the microaggressions and the gawks and the stares we got for being a black family there. And so you get mixed reviews. So I see some black YouTubers talking about how much they love Portugal and Madrid. We didn't feel that. Portugal has Lisbon was nice to visit, and Sintra is a beautiful city of castles. Highly recommend it. And Porto up north, it's beautiful. But if you're black, to me, we just didn't enjoy the energy we got from folks, and we really didn't see any other black families traveling like us. And so it got so bad where my sons were like, why are they looking at us like that? And Manuel was like, I haven't seen anybody here who's not an employee. Like, where are the other black people who travel? And so sometimes when you're traveling as a black family in non-black spaces, they look at you like you're a museum, or you're like some, I don't know, exhibit. And when you look back at them, they're like startled, like, why are you looking? You can see me staring at you. That's never a good feeling when you're black in a black family like ours in white spaces. But for the most part, we enjoyed the experience, but we just wouldn't go back. I don't plan on going back to Portugal or Madrid. Barcelona was cool. It's a little more laid back. The vibe was more cool. But Spain, Portugal, not near the top of my list by any means. Another cool place, architecturally, historically, is Greece. Athens is really great for history, seeing the cell where Socrates was locked up, seeing the Parthenon and the Acropolis and Areopagus Hill, Mars Hill where the Apostle Paul preached, and the Plaka, the where you can go to all these shops, and like that's really cool historically. But every time I go to Athens or Greece, I always feel this underlying tension, and I think it's racism. There's just, especially with me and my family, the way they look at me and my family, especially because we are not going to dim our lights to make them feel comfortable. If we got a problem, we're going to speak up. If we have an issue, we're going to address it because we're not going to get bullied or disrespected. And so every time I've been in Athens, it's always some man trying to just trigger us and push us and disrespect us to get us to humble ourselves and just tolerate their mistreatment of us. It happened at the airport, it happens on the roads, it happens in certain places. People jump in front of you in lines. There's just this energy where I don't think I need to go back to Athens ever again. Santorini is a beautiful place. My oldest son wants to go back to Santorini, and several people there were awesome. And I'm glad. I've been twice, and it's beautiful for pictures. The Red Rock Beach, the Red Beach, the Theta, the views of the blue domes of the churches there, wonderful. But I don't know if I need to go back to Greece again. But that's just me. But in terms of pictures and food and stuff like that, cool. And there's some people, of course, in the restaurants, they're gonna treat you kind because you're paying them. Outside of that, though, I didn't feel very welcome. You know what was really nice was Loreto, Mexico, in Baja, Mexico, man, north of Cabo San Lucas. Beautiful town. I've been to Cabo, didn't want to go to a very touristy place. If you go a little north to Loreto, I think I'm saying it right, it's beautiful. The beach, the water, the houses, the Airbnbs are affordable. The restaurants are really great. The people so kind and hospitable. And so if you're over there on the West Coast, look at Loreto, Mexico. We love Chicago. If you've never been to Chicago, you can go to Chicago, man. Great restaurants, great people. The Michigan Mile, the Magnificent Mile, man, where you can just go walk up and down and shop. Some beautiful views. Walking along the coastline, the Navy Pier is really nice. There's so many great things in Chicago that I think you would love if you've never been. Northwestern University's out there, some great churches out there, Progressive Baptist Church and Salem Baptist Church, where Pastor Charlie Dates is the pastor there. At both of those churches, incredible worship services if you're ever in Chicago. Yeah, man, I did New York, Chicago. I love Miami because it has my favorite restaurant in the world, Osaka's, which is also in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where we first discovered it. But Miami, it's nice to get away, man. It's a cool vibe, easygoing city, a lot of beautiful people. If you just pick the right time, find a nice hotel, and make sure you get something that's near the water, I think you'd enjoy Miami. Destin, Florida is really nice. Sanibel Island is really nice. Key West is really a great experience. In Florida, West Palm Beach, if you've never been, check out West Palm Beach. Orlando's cool if you like amusement parks, like Disney World. If you're gonna go to Disney World, you gotta go one time. They have 5 parks, and the experience is great if you got kids. I don't think I ever need to go to Disney World or Disneyland ever again because I can't do the crowds. It's just, I just can't do the crowds. But if you got little kids, you got to go at least once and try to get the fast passes. Oh, you know what? If you like roller coasters, you got to get to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. It's considered the roller coaster capital of the world. Man, I love that place. We've been there maybe 5 times. We went last year for Manuel's birthday. Man, the best roller coasters in the world. It's just a whole vibe. They got the dragster, they got Millennial Force, and it's just an experience that has allowed the Scott family to create so many wonderful memories together. The screaming, the yelling, the losing our voices, the running to get to the front of the line. Cedar Point has allowed us to do that and make some great memories. Germany was cool. Neuschwanstein. We went to Schwangau, the Neuschwanstein Castle. Walt Disney went to this Neuschwanstein Castle, saw it, and it inspired him to create the Magic Kingdom. And so the Magic Kingdom was inspired by the Neuschwanstein Castle. The kids and I, the family and I drove out there. It was snowing, and we ran down the hill and slid down the hill and rolled down the hill. But we went to the Neuschwanstein Castle, and it's really a beautiful, one of the most beautiful castles we've ever seen, and the most beautiful views we've ever had. That was an important place for us in terms of our memories and experiences as a family. You know, I'm not a big fan of London. My wife wants to go back to London. I don't know, man. The food doesn't have any flavor to me, and I've been a couple times. I don't really vibe with London, man. Like, it's not my cup of tea. But Alice likes the high tea at Fortnum and Mason, and Berkeley enjoyed it. And I don't never need to go to London again, ever. But that's just me. I do want to get up to some other places, but I'm not going to talk about those because I haven't been there yet. Oxford was cool. Cambridge was cool. It's nice to see. You know what? Amsterdam was really cool. We enjoyed Amsterdam. You can rent bikes and ride around the city on bikes. Highly recommend Amsterdam if you've never been. But overall, like, Amsterdam is so much more than the red light district. It's a beautiful city, man, that I could go back to again and again. We've been to Prague. Prague is beautiful, but don't need to go back to Prague. The boys and I played catch in the middle of the city, in the city square, and made so many friends. Like, played catch with like 40 different people from different countries around the world. It was a great experience. We did get robbed, but that's neither here nor there. We got robbed in Cape Town too. Didn't ruin the experience itself, but don't necessarily need to go back to Prague. Like I said, I mentioned Italy, but Venice deserves a special mention because there's no place in the world like it that I've seen. They have no cars. You ride boats and gondolas around the city, and you want to go after the cruise ships and others have left, so you can experience the city without the crowds. That's when I think Venice is at its best. St. Mark's Piazza Square is like the center of the city, and is it busboat number 9 or busboat number 1? It's like this, you sit on the front of it and you get this romantic ride through the canals, through the Grand Canal of Venice, and make some wonderful memories there. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave any of the best cities in the world out that we've really loved. Oh, Hawaii. If you've never been to Hawaii, Maui, Honolulu, Kauai, 3 really wonderful places. Honolulu is like, it's just a great island where you got great restaurants, great views, great beaches, cool people, man. I had the privilege of working there and meeting some wonderful leaders in the schools at Waipahu, in the city of Waipahu. I love Hawaii, and I could go back again and again. Then one of the islands, Maui, is where Alice and I spent our 1-year anniversary, and we think that's where Christopher was conceived. Maui's a little more laid back and quieter than Honolulu. I think you could get away there and have a wonderful time, especially as a couple. Now, if you want something even more quiet, more distant, more natural, more nature, go to Kauai. Kauai is like the quietest island we've been to. Almost too quiet for my liking, but it was like a fairy tale. And I think they filmed some movies out there. We went horseback riding. I think I made a video about Kauai. If you want to see that, look around. But the whole state of Hawaii is a place I highly recommend. I forgot to mention Bora Bora. Man, Bora Bora is one of the most beautiful places in the world. We flew into Tahiti. And then we flew from Tahiti to Bora Bora, spent about a week there. Loved it. Loved it. Went scuba diving, went snorkeling, and the children swam with scuba dive with manta rays. And when they talk about it in the videos of them swimming with the manta rays, is like, it's hard to put into words how magical it was. Even Berkeley says that's the best experience she's ever had, swimming with the manta rays. So Bora Bora is up there as well. The Bahamas. Not Nassau, but the family islands. If you can get to the family islands, the out islands, there's the Abaco, there's Eleuthera, there's San Salvador, there's Exuma, there's Long Island. Just look into those places, man. I've never seen more beautiful beaches in the entire world. You could walk on a beach and the only footprints you see are the ones you left, because miles and miles and miles of peopleless sand beaches, pink sand beaches, turquoise water, perfect waters. The weather's 70s, 80s. It's like heaven on earth. It's very expensive, and the people are so laid back. Really, I probably should have put this definitely near top 5 in my list of places I just love, that restore me, that replenish me. St. Lucia was really nice. Yeah, that's down in the Caribbean. Yeah, St. Lucia was really nice. The Grand Tetons Mountains, and so welcoming. And the roti down there is great. Jamaica was cool. Don't need to go back to Jamaica though, but it was cool. Been a couple times. Jamaica was cool. You want some really great Mexican food, go down to the Valley of Texas, Brownsville, down near the border of Texas, McAllen. Best homemade tortillas you will find in the world. The tortilla is so good. The food is so good. You can even go to Stripes, a gas station where they sell Mexican food and tacos there. Man, those tacos are better than most Mexican food around the country. If any of these places stand out for you, please be sure to put them on your list. These places have helped us as a family create some of the best memories and experiences together. So when we look back on them, we smile. When we look back on these locations and tell the stories of where we've been and what we did, we smile, we laugh, we talk about when we're gonna go back. That's why we're here in Paris right now. Christopher, we've been here many times. We were here a few years ago on a 4-month trip throughout the world. And we spent a few weeks here, and Chris was like, Dad, can I go back to Paris for my 16th birthday? So we talked about it as a family. And rather than going to Colombia, we decided to go to come back to Paris. So we've been here in Paris, and it's been wonderful. We're staying across the street from the Notre Dame. It was burned down a little while ago, and they just reopened it a couple weeks ago, right before we got here. And we're staying right across the street from it. We've been at the Eiffel Tower. We're here for New Year's Eve and saw the fireworks going off, and we just hugged and we prayed together and made some more wonderful memories here. No penny is wasted when you are traveling. No money is wasted when you travel. Man, travel. It opens your mind. It brings you together as a family. And if you can, don't just go by yourself. Go with someone you love. And if you really can, take your children with you. Help your children experience the world. Help your children become global citizens. Help them see that their normal is not everyone else's normal. Help them see that their cultural universe is not culturally universal. Help them open their minds. Help them learn new perspectives. It will help them in how they live, how they lead in this rapidly changing, globalized world. Okay? If this video has blessed you in any way, please like it, subscribe, and share it with other people who are thinking about traveling. Make sure to look around on the channel. I'm doing my best to share practical wisdom to help you flourish in every area of your life. So we're talking about not just health. I'm talking least about health. I'm talking about wealth, personal development, entrepreneurship, and real estate. I'm talking about relationships with regard to dating and marriage and love and parenting, motherhood, fatherhood, and just raising children. And then we're talking about how to be the best educator you can be, and I'm giving insights for speakers, and I'm giving tools for ministers as well. All right. So my daughter just turned off the light in the living room, which I think may have affected this video's lighting, but she doesn't care because she doesn't love me. But it's all good. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing some more with you soon. Have a great day. Have a great night. I'll see you soon.